Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guest, University of Pittsburgh Associate Head Basketball Coach Tim O'Toole. Coach, thanks for joining us. You're in your fifth year at Pitt. What an amazing resume you have. 30-year coaching career, 8 at your alma mater at Fairfield. Twinkled in there, you had stops working for ESPN as a basketball analyst and at St. John's. So let me ask you, how did that help you in that transition coming back to coaching?
I think it really helped a great deal. And just to kind of walk you through that. Thanks, by the way. It's great being with you. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to have me on. When I was let go at Fairfield in 2006, you started to realize, all right, what are some of these other things that I think I need to be doing? And so I worked at ESPN as a TV analyst, but then also St. John's Radio as a radio analyst there as well. And one of the things that allowed you to do, at least back in that time period, it allowed you to keep going back into other gyms and to interview other coaches and see and listen to what they were doing and why they were successful. And so when I was with ESPN, I dealt with the Big East, the MAC, and the Ivy League. Those are the three kind of leagues that I operated with. And then obviously when you were at St. John's, that was in the old days of the Big East. So then you were still seeing the Pitts of the world, going back to Georgetown, the Notre Dame. And the one thing as a coach that you don't get the opportunity, especially in college, is to see what other people are doing, what their ideas are, what they're doing in practice. And this was like a godsend to me, because when I was growing up, and you'll remember this, Ed, I used to work 5-star here at Robert Morris. And when I was at Robert Morris, it was the John Calipari's of the world. There was the Rick Pitino's, the Pete Gillens of the world. And so you were always around this basketball think tank. And then all of a sudden, Division I, you kind of get stuck where there's no more people to talk to. And so the television and the radio got me back involved with these people and listening to Mike Bray and why they do what they do, and who was at Notre Dame, and John Thompson, who was at Georgetown. So it was fascinating to me. And then to see the game through a different lens, again, it was time well spent, to make a long story short.
Well, Coach, let's go look at this Pitt program. You've been there 5 years, and Pitt was hit hard with a lot of players leaving the transfer portal. The 6 straight losing seasons, 2 prior to when Coach Capel got there. So coming into this season, you bring in 8 new players, 6 transfer portal, and I'm thinking you got older guys, 24, 23 years. How are you going to mesh together? How are you going to get chemistry? Then you start off 1 and 3, and I'm thinking, oh man, this is going to be another rough season. So how did you turn it around? Was there a particular game was a turning point, and what was the thinking going on with the 1 and 3 start?
Well, I think it's interesting, and you know this, Ed, because you've been doing this for a long time and you've seen a lot of different seasons. I do think it's really all Jeff. I mean, everything has been about Jeff and his ability. There's an old saying that the skillful navigator doesn't earn his reputation in calm seas. You do it in the storms and the tempests. And when you've been involved with this profession as long as you have, or I have, boy, you see a lot of things. And then you realize how important it is for you to maintain your poise and maintain your control. And the one thing I say is because in 1995-96, when Jeff was a junior and I was working at Duke with him, I was coaching on Coach K's staff. We started out 0-4, and this was after, I think Coach was 13-18 the year prior. They were in last place. And so you kind of understand sometimes, hey, you're going to be taking on some water, but you got to keep, throwing punches, keep firing back on all cylinders, and you realize that the season is a long one. And as you mentioned, getting back to the transfer guys, Ed, was that these guys were older. And so when they were a little older, they've taken their fair share of punches and they know how to kind of throw them back. And so this word resiliency kind of comes into play. But I go back and I do believe this because it rhymes with this letter or this word right here, Ed. And that's what the city of Pittsburgh just reminds me of, the university, all of you guys, is this one word. It's called grit. Grit. And that's when passion and perseverance kind of come to the forefront. And the one thing about the great folks at Pittsburgh is they don't, they can bend, but they're not going to break. They're going to be there through thick and thin. And I do think that kind of, our older guys did have that grit. I mean, obviously we're part of this, so we feel it. And I do think that's the one word that Cape really, he's personifies, if you would, but it's similar to this city. And again, we've got a long way to go here still, but grit is a big part of it.
So it sounds to me like this was more of a residue of design rather than luck, this chemistry, resiliency, which I saw firsthand in the Miami game. You're down 68-60, 2:26 to go, and an 11-0 run, and you win the game. This team has withstood a lot of runs, can't overcome all of them. You've had that 6-game winning streak, a loss to Florida State before, and Virginia Tech just recently, but it seems like Coach knew what he had coming in there.
Well, not only did he knows what he had, you also you kind of there. This is a special group, Ed. You can see it, you feel it every time you're in that practice facility or in the main gym. When they come out, there's a certain presence. There's an energy, and you kind of knew, all right, we need to stick together. We've got good pieces. We don't know how good they are, but we like what we've got. They're willing to fight. And just as you mentioned, we were saying this the other day when we're down, I forget what we were down here at Virginia Tech, but it was like, we didn't bring up Miami, but it was like, hey, at Vanderbilt, we were stuck 8 with 3:55. It's the exact scenario. We've been here before, but we need to start getting some stops and some scores. And because there's that feeling that you're never out of this thing. And and that's kind of been who we've been all year.
Well, let's talk about the Virginia Tech game, Coach. I watched that game. I was surprised by their physicality and their 30 points down in the low, down in the paint. And your 3-point shooting went cold. And it's funny, the 2 losses against Florida State, Virginia Tech, you're just 10 for 47 from beyond the arc. So were you surprised by how physical Virginia Tech was?
Yes. Yeah. It was one of the, put it this way, we know how hard it is to play down there because we've been down there a number of times. I think one of the things Jim Larinaga mentioned that makes our league so hard, and a lot of people are beating up our league, which is crazy. But if you think how diverse the styles are of the teams that are in our league, it's really amazing. If you're in the Big Ten or the Big 12, and I don't mean to kind of be myopic with this, but they kind of have a similar style. They're pounding away at each other. In our league, it's a little bit of everything. And so with Florida State, when we lost to them, they switch 1 through 5. They're on top of you. They're putting pressure on you, and they're making you do different things. And I think to some degree, this is the first time people have been really physical with us, and that was Virginia Tech. And so we got knocked back a little bit, and we weren't able to recover. And so, like, the first thing Jeff said after the game is, hey, we need to learn from this and move forward because other teams will try to do the same thing, and we need to have our counters for it.
Coach, it seems like you're going to live and die in a 3-point play. So when that's not working, as it didn't work against Florida State, Virginia Tech, what's the alternative? Do you try to go down into the paint, try to change things up, or you just say, hey, we got to live by the 3-point shot?
No, I think, when you look at our team too, when the 3-pointer is not working, or I shouldn't say not working, but they're taking it away, then usually Jamarius and Nike have been the guys that can get downhill and score in the paint. Same with Nelly. Now, his size is a little different, but those guys can come off ball screens and get in and go into the lane. And I think that's kind of what our counter normally is. And again, unfortunately, it just didn't work out where Jamarius missed some of those shots in the lane. I think we did get Fetty and we did get Guillermo going a little bit there. But again, and that's kind of your interior presence. But we are definitely a mixture of all these things. And when we can get Greg and we can get Blake and we can get Nelly hitting some shots, even Nike, then we become a different team.
You're number 1 ACC in 3-pointers, I think, 249 coming into your last 4 games. So how big are these last 4 games after the loss to Virginia Tech, with Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Notre Dame, and Miami?
Well, I think the reality, and this is kind of our world, and you know this, Ed, is that we've got to treat one game at a time. If you start getting too ahead of your skis, you can, it's just a disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. And so every game has been big. We've known this. We've been saying this from when we played NC State at NC State in the first game, and then it was Syracuse before Christmas. So nothing is really new, but what has to happen is your focus needs to be one at a time, because is Georgia Tech more important than Syracuse, or Syracuse more important? No. They're all equally the same. We've got to keep trying to do everything in our power to win, and that's against Georgia Tech. And then we treat the next game in the schedule the same way. But that has been our mission. That's been our focus. And from being around, especially young kids, you've got to keep them locked in. And that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Well, Coach, good luck to you the rest of the season, these last 4 games, the tournament coming up, NCAA March Man, it's great having you on. I look forward. We have to do a half-hour special with you next
Ed,
fall before the season starts. I would really like to do that.
would love that, Ed. Anytime, pal. All the best.
Thank you. Good luck.
Bye-bye. Hail to Pitt.
Thank you. I'll be right back with Alan George.
Some companies will tell you they have the best customer service.
No, I'm sorry. That's not a part of our policy. We can't really help you there.
Some companies will tell you they have the best technical support.
Yeah, let me just put you on with somebody from technical support right now. Please hold. Technical support, how can I help you?
Some companies will tell you that your call is very important. Only Armstrong provides you with the customer service you deserve.
How do you choose the smart home and security system that's right for your family? The answer is Guardian Protection, a fully integrated system so that all your smart home and security devices work together, like smart locks, smart lights, doorbell cameras, video cameras, and more. And with advanced artificial intelligence technology, Guardian Protection creates a smarter, safer home for you, all controlled from one single app. The right choice for your family.
I'm back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left the Tiger Albert Campman. Let's go to Spotlight, boys basketball. Tasso Stefanos of Mars, 26 points and a 76-40 playoff win over Bethel Park. Next up for Mars, 15-8. They take on number 2 seed Penn Hills, 17-3.
Penn Hills is the best team going, but they sometimes stub their toe. I've talked to coach in that division. He said the one team that's above everybody else is Penn Hills, but no one's scared to play them because they somehow, whatever. But I will say this:
they're 17-3 though.
Yeah. I'm about playoffs. I'm about playoffs.
I'll tell you, down 5 or up 5 with them, it makes no difference.
Yes,
the game's not going to be any different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Eddie, I want to talk about this kid. This is the joke, my standing joke. Bethel Park. For you people who think you have to be a great player to be a great coach or not a good, the coach of Bethel Park is Dante Claiborne. Now he's one of the greatest. One of the greatest players. What was the score of the game?
76-40.
He's not playing. So George, how many hires they think because the guy can play?
Yeah.
Played what, in the Italian league or something?
Oh, he's a millionaire.
Somebody in that school board looked and saw that he played at North Carolina and figured, we can't lose with this guy. Now, maybe they won't.
No, he might turn around, but I just, that's a standing joke to me that they think a great player automatically becomes.
Where did Eddie McCluskey play his college basketball?
I know what he played.
He didn't play. He didn't play in college. Okay. Hey, John Sabo, Slippery Rock High School, 22 points, and he's also a Slippery Rock University football recruit.
Absolutely.
They got a good athlete there, boys.
Absolutely.
Tate Bailey, Karn City, 21. This week, District 9 playoffs, boys 3A, Montauk, 12-10. They'll take on Brookville, 19-2. That will be for the championship at Clarion University. In 2A, Karn City 20-3. They take on Port Allegheny quarterfinals at Karn City. Union or Reimersburg, they will take on Clarion in the quarterfinals. And in 6A, District 7 WPL boys Butler 14-7 at Mount Lebanon, 14-7. Interesting here, Butler is the leading scoring team in 6A, but they have the worst defense. Mount Lebanon, the number 1 defense. You think Joey David's going to slow this one down, guys? Keep it in the 40s.
Well, he's not playing either, but I agree with you.
I know he's not playing,
game,
but he's going to slow it down.
It's not going to get to 65.
It's going to be interesting that can they guard the 2 good players for Butler?
Yes.
Mount Lebanon's used to playing guys that are not getting to the hoop like that.
Not like Carney and Little John.
No,
they
you're
get
right.
the hoop. We're going to see.
And will Butler be patient enough with a
No,
slow
Butler's
down
not
game?
patient. Butler's not patient.
That's the key.
But sometimes the pace the other way wins. And sometimes, like Mount Lebanon, say we don't want to get. And all of a sudden, it's 71-68.
So if you're Butler, you try to force the hand on him.
Oh,
You
yeah.
try to run
No
on him.
question. That's why they play anyway.
Yeah,
That's why
I
they
don't
play.
think they're going to change the way they play in 5
I
days.
agree, George.
And Seneca Valley 9-12 at Upper St. Clair 14-8. Don't look past Seneca Valley.
Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
Yeah.
But that record says it doesn't. That's not true. But every coach I talk to, watch out for Seneca Valley. Watch out for Seneca Valley. We'll see.
We've seen
We'll
them
see.
play. They're big. They're strong.
Yeah.
And Norwin 13-8 at Newcastle. So we're rooting for Newcastle, of course, and Butler because there's a chance Butler goes to Newcastle. We could be there and do that game.
They're using home floors in the second round.
I don't know.
I don't think.
No,
I
it'll
don't
be a
know
neutral
that.
site.
Yeah.
So it could be at North Allegheny or
Easy.
somewhere.
Yeah,
But
that's
still, we
right.
could do it.
So it has to be
We
big
could do
enough
it.
for the kids.
That's right. It's a good point.
They determine where the game is.
And by the way, they changed the format playoff
playbacks
playbacks instead of the
who beats.
yeah, right. Okay, and then in 4A, Hampton 65, Blackhawk 50. Hampton goes to 21-2. They didn't miss anything with their Kramer, their star player.
Blackhawk's
being,
not very good.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They finished 11-12.
Yeah.
North Catholic 53, Montour 41. Andrew Madelon, he had 22 points for North Catholic. They're now 17-6. Lower Highlands 69, Freeport 45. Rodney Gallagher with 26 points. Now Lower Highlands goes up. They're now 20-2. And Elwood City 57, Deer Lake 76. Joe Roth 37 of Elwood City's 57 points.
Sensational player.
Yeah,
you know, like you're saying, they're all coming back next year. The other kids have to get better because Roth he'll be an aircraft carrier as a senior, and he'll be the leading scorer if he stays healthy. And that was his City School history.
Beaver Falls 67's Olsh 75. Jaron Brickner 21 and Trey Singleton 20 for Beaver Falls. Rochester in 1A will take on Summit Academy. And in girls basketball, top scores, Catherine Kelly of Montauk. She had 22 in a 2A 45-37 semifinal win over North Clarion. Next up, Montauk 18-5. They take on Cotter Sports 16-6 at Brockway. Corn City 14-8. They take on Kane at Clarion University for the championship. And Justine Forbes of Butler, she had 27 points, but in the playoff game, Butler lost to Peters Township 62-49. Amelia McMichael with 22 points. Butler finishes 11-12. Coming up later this week, Pine Ridge and 11-11 at North Allegheny, 16-5. Hampton 14-8 takes on Indiana. Knock 14-7 in 4A. They take on Hopewell. And North Catholic 19-3. They take on the winner of Beaver and West Mifflin.
And last night, the Grove City girls were upset by Westminster in the first round of the President's Conference.
Wow, that's something.
At home.
Yep. Boys swimming, high hand Shu Senicavelli, he set, I hope I got his name right, 2 pool records at Butler in the 200 individual medley and a 100 breaststroke. Senicavelli won 122-56. And in girls swimming, Senicavelli 105, Butler 81. Morgan Baker, Senicavelli, she was a 4-event winner, 50 freestyle, 100 freestyle, 200 medley, and a 400 freestyle medley. Abigail Vance of Butler, she was a 3-event winner. And the Slippery Rock High School girls, they go to 12-0 with wins over Oil City and Farrell. Natalie Double, Grace Oshansky, and Maddie Gosselman, double event winners. Freeport girls, they play second in the WPIL Bowling League Championship. And in college swimming, David Bocci of Butler is a member of the Clarion University swim team. They set a new school record in the 400-meter medley relay. And in college track, Butler grad C.J. Singleton, our 2022 Mile Athlete of the Year, now a freshman at Notre Dame. He placed 4th in the men's mile at the University of Wisconsin with a time of 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
Wow.
He qualifies him for the ACC Conference Championship. 4 minutes and 4 seconds was 4th.
That's
how
that's
good
why
that
that's
is.
why it's called big time. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
big time.
You know,
And he's a freshman. That's quite an achievement for
tremendous.
him.
That's why he's
Yeah.
our athlete of the year. Yeah, no question.
And Brian Dvorak, Slippery Rock University, he was named the PSAC Men's Field Athlete of the Week. Let's go to our stories of the week, some Super Bowl leftovers. The holding call on the Eagles defensive back, James Bradbury, who admitted he held Juju. To his credit, I give him class. Juju for his taunting of Bradbury after the game. He's classless. He has no class. But here, I'm reading and hearing stuff. This ruined the Super Bowl. The officiating was terrible. Shouldn't have made the call. Well, I said before, officials can make a call, change the outcome of the game, or they do not make a call. I'm surprised Ben Roethlisberger's been a big critic, because had he been playing and that call was not made against one of his receivers who was held, he'd be the first to complain. Guys, you tell me, is this criticism warranted of the call this official made?
Just the magnitude of the game made that call. That's all. You know, it's like you said. Either way, somebody's not going to be happy.
So he should not have
They're
made
not
the
going to be
call?
happy. Either way, they're not going to be happy. That's just the way it is.
Did the official do the wrong thing?
No, the best thing you said was, if he doesn't make it, he affects the game.
Either way, and I told you about the basketball game between Butler and Erie Prep when Joel was there. Butler was winning 47-46, final 4 or 5 second. Kid from Erie Prep drives, gets hammered, knocked to the floor, game over, no foul. That's when, what's his name? Marcel Aribi he went crazy. He went over to Jula. Now I'm doing the game on the radio. I saw him go to Jula. He says, I'll be waiting for you next year at Erie. Butler went up there. Erie shot like 35 fouls. Butler shot 5.
Yeah.
That determined the outcome
Erie's
of the
famous
game.
for that one.
You haven't lived till you play an Erie team in Hammermill. I'm going to tell you right now, it's an experience.
You've been there.
Oh, boy.
Hey, I just wonder if Ben's criticism was some of this coming from a quarterback. Is he a little bit jealous that Mahomes won his second Super Bowl as the youngest player to do so?
Anything he says.
I don't know.
If some guy told me that on the street today, leaving here, I would give it the same credence.
I just don't. What did they want that official to do? He did what he was supposed to do. I saw him grab him, and Bradbury admitted
I
it.
said I grabbed him.
What more do you want? Hey, by the way, Super Bowl viewership averages for this game 113 million, the most viewers in Super Bowl history. First, I was surprised at this one. New England and Seattle was first in 2015 with 114,400,000 and some thousand. And second, the Patriots and the Falcons in 2017, 113,660 some thousand.
Brady had that calling. That was Brady, but everybody knew Brady.
Now this is TV and streaming, both.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Different world.
there's no other sport to compare to the NFL.
No.
There's nothing that even comes.
Tell you another
close.
thing that happened in that, not for me.
Yeah.
But if I mispronounce it, tell me. I had 3 teacher ladies watching it because they wanted to see Rihanna or Rihanna.
Yeah,
or,
Rihanna.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
You would think, well, we're there to watch the game. They
Right.
want
The
to watch the
entertainment.
halftime show.
That's
Riri,
some do. Yes.
Riri.
Hey, Pitt basketball, they lose to Virginia Tech 79-72. It snaps their 6-game win streak. Before that win streak, they lost to Florida State. And then at the end, they lose to Virginia Tech. In those 2 games, they were 10-47 from beyond the arc. So they live and die by the arc. They're number 1 in the ACC with almost 253 pointers. Virginia Tech scored 30 points down in the paint. And I asked assistant head coach Tim O'Toole if he was surprised by Virginia Tech's physicality. And he said they were. And Coach Cable mentioned to the team after, we were outplayed physically.
Yeah, in the ACC, you live and die with the 3. You understand? In the Big 12, you live and die with the 3. In other words, around the country, you better get shooters because everybody's shooting them. Everybody shoots 3s.
Yeah, the demise of the low. But Virginia Tech went counter and scored 30 points in the paint.
They usually don't, though.
They
watch
usually
them play,
don't.
They usually shoot
but
3s.
they saw something.
Yeah.
There are no secrets at this point of the year, right?
And this big upset thing, Pitt was 5-point dog.
Yes.
Yeah. So now look, Pitt drops from 1st to 3rd place. 4 games remaining with Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Notre Dame, Miami. Can't look past any of them. I say they have to win 3 to solidify themselves for the NCAA. I think if they lose 2, could they be on the bubble?
I
If
think
they
they're
lose,
in. No, I think they're in right now.
you think they're in?
Right
they're,
now.
they're solid.
Second, third in that league?
Yeah.
They got to take somebody.
And a chance, they still have a chance to win the league.
Yeah.
And
they
then
got double bye,
the
too. And
tournament.
hey, they're
Yes.
buyed into the second, the
So
third round.
these games are critical.
Oh, and you know
for
what?
us.
If you said to me they'll run the table, I'd say, oh, tough at Miami. If you said they'll lose the last 4, I wouldn't be stunned. I'd be surprised, but not stunned.
And the worst team out of the 4 is Notre Dame.
And they could.
But they just lost to Virginia by 2
I don't
and
want
Duke
them.
by
Yeah.
3. So you
Absolutely.
don't know. Hey, Major League Baseball. This is something interesting I came across. Pirate TV games and Penguins. The Pirates TV host, Regional Sports Network. There's some financial problems here. Sportico has reported that Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company of AT&T Sports, Pirates and Penguins, they came up short paying the full obligation to the Pirates. And so there are industry-wide issues here. And Bally Sports, it owns 19 of these sports networks. They're $140 million in the red and may file bankruptcy. What's this all mean? Major League Baseball says we may take over the broadcast. It includes not only the Pirates, but the Astros and the Rockies. So what does that mean for our local viewership?
What does that mean? What does it mean?
I don't know. I was asking Matt, our producer, that could change things. And the Major League Baseball might say, we're getting our own announcers,
Put it
not
on the
local.
MLB. Well, like the NFL,
Yeah.
they own the Red Zone, they own the NFL channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if I heard Manfred right, he has a contingency plan.
I hope.
He has something in place.
Yeah.
My concern is I hope we're not going to lose this here.
Yeah, because the viewers in the Pittsburgh area are big.
Big
You
for
understand?
Penguins and
They-
Pirates.
They
Absolutely.
watch a lot of
Yeah,
lot
this
of
We have
is-
a buddy that
baseball.
sells ads for that company, and especially the Penguins.
It's a huge financial problem. How it's going to work out, Major League Baseball won't hesitate going in there and plucking that thing away, which I think they might say we'll put our own announcers in.
Well, you can see
that
what's
regard.
coming too. You look at the Yankees, the Yes Network, putting all those games on Apple TV. Streaming's coming.
Totally.
You're not going to watch those games
Totally,
for
it's
free in
coming.
10 years.
It's coming.
Hey, the Pirates report to camp this week, and the changes are in place. They're still going to start the extra innings with a runner at second base. If it goes 15 innings, then they say the pitcher has to move 30 feet closer and throw it underhand. And then if that doesn't work, they're just going to throw the ball to one of the outfielders, let the guy run home, see if they can throw him out.
Ghost runner.
The bases are bigger. They want more stolen bases.
Yeah, people our age, 90% of them don't like rule changes.
I don't like them at all.
We didn't grow up with that.
No.
The young kids, you talk to them, they're excited. They're excited about this. That's what I'm saying. They're all trying to reach the young people.
122 non-pitchers last year total they used.
And GM Ben Charrington said he's interested in sitting down and talking to Brian Reynolds. Reportedly, they offered him a 5-year, $76 million deal, $15 million a year. He makes $6.7 million this year. He's a good player, not a great player. Was that a fair offer?
No.
No.
Reynolds is
$15 million a year wasn't enough.
No.
Not compared to the other. It is something like that. In my neighborhood, it is.
Not
what do you give
his stats compared to people in the upper echelon? He's right with them.
Okay.
And Reynolds is right with him. You put him on
Now,
another
he had
team,
some injuries
they'll
last
be raving
year.
about Reynolds.
He had some injuries last year. 27 homers,
That's what I'm
62,
saying.
62 RBIs.
There's
though.
nobody ever on base.
Okay.
So that's what I said. Let him put on the Yankees bat third.
Okay, so
And he'll have
let
120
me
RBIs.
say that.
Yes.
I respect what you're saying.
Yes.
So what do you want to give him? An 8-year, $160 million
They're not going to
deal?
sign him. They're not going to sign him.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying. What do you think he's worth?
What
8
you just
years,
said.
$20 million?
He is worth that much.
Okay.
Yes.
But for the Pirates, do you want to sign him
No,
for 8
they're
years?
not going to do it.
No, would you sign him for 8
No,
years?
they're not going to
They're
do it.
going to hold out. And
The
hope
bottom
some
line is
team-
they're not doing it.
I know they won't do it. Would
They
you
want
do
two
it?
Yeah, I
players
would do
and a
it.
pitcher.
You wouldn't
That's
do
good. I would do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
See-
not, I think he's past that point.
He wants to leave.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a distraction. How's it a distraction on a team that's been last place 4 straight years,
Yeah.
lost 100?
So they lose 97 instead of 95.
Well, I'm saying
Okay.
David Bednar says it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother as long as he
Doesn't
goes
bother
out.
us, does it?
No, what I'm saying is, as long as he goes out and plays
He
hard,
will. He does anyway.
no one's going to care.
That's the way
the
he
players
plays.
are on his side, and many of them are thinking, trade me to the Yankees.
Yes,
Trade me to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to finish up with the Pens? They've lost 9 straight Metro games. There are 26 games left in the season. There's no signs after this All-Star break that they've made amends and changed things. I just don't see where they're going. That window is, to me, it's practically, it may be open about that much, guys. Trades aren't going to help at this point.
No.
They get no help from the 3rd and 4th lines. It's all on Crosby and Malkin.
Yeah, that's the best line right there. Best line. They have nobody behind in the 3rd and 4th lines that are doing the job.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We've run out of time. We'll see you next week.
Armstrong has a long history of fighting food insecurity in our communities through Breaking Bread events. Here's how you can help. Armstrong is celebrating Breaking Bread Day on Wednesday, March 8th. Visit your local Armstrong store to be part of the celebration. Drop off a non-perishable food donation and receive a special gift. Scan the QR code to find out more information. Visit ArmstrongOneWire.com/breakingbread to find a list of community feeding programs in your area.